So this would be our third video for this. And what we want to do now is what should we do with the solid waste? Okay, so first of all, foremost, the answer on the test and the quiz is going to be what's the best way to deal with it? And the best way to deal with solid waste is to prevent making it all together. Prevention is the most valuable that we can do. Do not even start it. And then what we need to do from there is decide once we do is try to minimize, reuse, and some other things. All right, so what we have now is what's called integrated waste management. The idea is to control the stuff. So there's lots of different ways of dealing with it. You can bury it like in landfills. Some of it is incinerated, catch on fire, and then others we ship it, which I'm not sure is great. Really kind of the dynamic part of it is we need to waste reduction. We really need to start trying to keep things out of our landfills. And so there's all kinds of different processes, and then we take labs, we actually go visit a landfill, and that's one of the labs that we do for the Bio6 lab. All right, so what we should do and what we do. Unfortunately, we bury most of it, and that's probably what should be the least amount done. So we're doing what we call this kind of the inverted triangle here. So what we should do is reduce, reuse, recycle, incinerate, and bury. Unfortunately, it turns out we're doing that in the almost exact opposite. And that is not good, and it's causing environmental and natural capital degradation. We could save money if we did this properly. So I'm going to give you the 5 R's. We did the 3 R's in the first exam. We're going to expand this, and your book actually only does kind of the 4 R's. But what we want you to do is realize, reuse, reduce, recycle are kind of the 3. Here, the first one is refuse. We just don't use it. I refuse to use that product. I don't need it. After that, we also have repurpose. Use it again, but differently. And we're going to talk about that in an idea about upcycling or even downcycling. So we really have now kind of 5 R's. So I want you to know for the next test the 5 R's. So here are our 6 strategies to reduce resource use and with it then waste and pollution. We need to look at how we make things, and they're looking at different ways like cements on how to make it more friendly. A lot of biomimicry we talk about, just try to make it more natural, like animals and plants do on the planet. Redesign our processes using less material and energy, trying to figure out new ways of doing it. Develop products that are easy to repair. Instead of this throwaway society, we need to go back to repairing things. Eliminate, reduce unnecessary packaging. I'm amazed at what we put things in. Use fee per bag waste collection systems. Germany does this, who has one of the better. You pay for the bag. So if you're paying money to dump stuff, I mean, we do that with the trash cans now, but you pay less for the less trash you have. Right now, we pay for a full trash can, and then there's pass laws. Just make it more difficult and make it harder for companies to do that. Okay, so give you another Vogel principle, page 124, number 14. Conserving energy and resources not only saves resources, but also helps to protect the environment from where the resources / energy are obtained in the environment which people live. So the idea here is we just need to be better. By doing this, we're going to save resources. We talk about running out of things. Just use less. And if we use less and we use it better, life will be good. And there's 2 types of recycling. Primary recycling, which is using something for the same purpose, like using a bottle that holds something liquid, is to put it in another bottle of liquid again, or aluminum can. The secondary type of recycling is upcycling or downcycling, which I mentioned earlier. And so upcycling would be to reuse it for a different purpose, maybe for even a better purpose. Or downcycling is that you use it for something else, maybe not quite as good. And then as you downcycle, you can use it 4 or 5 different times. And each time you might lose something, but at least you're reusing it. And so here we've got tennis shoes that are being made out of recycled tires. You can see the tread. So upcycling, again, the process of transferring products, waste materials into new materials of greater value. I'm not sure about the picture on the bicycle. I just, when I typed it in, that's upcycling. I got a bike, so I thought it was funny. They made a sink out of it, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure I want that in my house, but anyway. And then we have downcycling, which I mentioned is like here in paper, we have quality writing paper, and you can see as it goes down, it gets to less and less quality paper, but still usable for lots of different products. All right, the United States, we suck. Just say it. Again, the United States recycles or composts about 20% of its MSW, which is significantly lower than the EPA estimate of 34%. So we're not meeting what we should. Americans should be able to compost at least 80% of the MSW. We're not even close. The closest is Germany, which I mentioned earlier, and they're recycling about 65% of their MSW. So they're doing a really good job. One of the professors in our department comes from Germany, and she says, yeah, their system is so much better than what we're doing today. All right, the advantages of recycling. It reduces energy and minerals, it reduces gases, reduces solid waste. We really don't have a very good process, and we really shouldn't be counting on recycling as our main way of going. Really, the refuse, the reuse, reduce makes a lot more sense. Recycling should be kind of that last idea that, okay, I'm going to have to use this. It has seen its lifespan. What else can I do with it? But right now, recycling is sold as kind of the way we save the planet. And it's one little cog, but a very little cog. Henry Ford, I mentioned biomimicry. Your book talks about a very famous picture where he's hitting his car in 1914. Well, that's not really true, it turns out. This is the famous picture. This was taken in the, I think it was taken in the 40s, actually. And he is hitting the bumper of a car. And they were actually using products that were made out of soybean and hemp. But it turned out it became so much cheaper for them to make it from oil that they stopped doing it. But again, he had the idea, but we got to figure out ways to make it cheap, right? And to make it recyclable. And really what we need to do is demand, I think is a better word. And with that, we will stop the share and stop the recording.